Well, hello everyone. Thank you for joining me this afternoon. This is Chrystal Lynn, Cowgirl Astrologer, and I want to come on this afternoon. It's actually a rainy day out here in Southern California, and I've got all the kids home, but they're in the other room, so I'm trying to sneak in a little video. Hopefully I'll make it through. But if you do hear kids in the background, you'll get the picture. So anyway, I'm really excited to come on today and talk about the astrological weather. We have a very rare alignment where all of the major planets are moving direct. And this is a 3-week window from January 7th to February 6th. And if you guys have been following the astrological weather over the last few years, you know we've just been in this push-pull with retrogrades and direct and all the planets doing crazy lineups. So, you know, for many of us, we're just trying to get our feet grounded. And every time we do, it's another go back and look within and check everything out, and then try to make a little bit of a headway. And then right when you start making a little bit of a headway, right, boom, we're back to dealing with something completely else that we feel like, darn, you know, I've been distracted again over here. But there's a lot of storylines playing out up in the sky. The sky likes to tell stories. And so, you know, it's really hard unless you can look back and start to see how this has been working out. Yeah. So let's take a look at what is going on right now up in the sky. We have some major stuff going on. So we know the sun is in Capricorn. Our moon has just entered Cancer. So we've just passed through 2.5 days with the moon in Gemini. Mercury is direct in Sagittarius at 29 degrees. Venus is in Pisces at 8 degrees. Mars, Pisces, 17 degrees. So we have a Venus-Mars conjunction. It's a little loose, but nevertheless, you will feel it. Jupiter is in Libra, 22 degrees, has not gone retrograde yet. Jupiter, I had it out here. Jupiter will go retrograde on February 5th. Okay, so that will be one of the planets that takes us out of this rare alignment. So February 5th, Jupiter will move retrograde. Saturn is in Sagittarius, going direct in a beautiful sextile with Jupiter. So we have Libra, Sag kind of working together, same degree. Uranus in Aries is direct at 20 degrees. So we have all these planets lining up at, you know, 20 degrees. Neptune's in Pisces at 10 degrees. Pluto's in Capricorn, 17 degrees. Lilith in Scorpio, 26 degrees. And North Node at 4 degrees. And that moves backwards. Now you might say, well, what do we care about all these degrees? Well, these degrees really do have very specific meaning. For one, when you're looking at your own chart, okay, so if you look at your own chart, and let's say you were born, I'll give this perfect example. I'll use me. I was born with the moon in Pisces at 16 degrees, okay? And right now, I'm going to look and say, what planets are in Pisces? So Mars is at Pisces at 17 degrees. So what just happened? It just passed over my moon. Now I have the ascendant in Pisces at 21 degrees. So Mars is heading towards my ascendant. When? Over the next few days. Just hit the moon, heading for my ascendant. So what does this mean for you and I? Well, I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the things I've been going through astrologically so that maybe you can also understand this for yourself, okay? But obviously, it takes Mars 2 years to do a full circle. So Mars being in Pisces, hitting the moon and heading towards my ascendant is pretty intense stuff. There's some major life changes going on because Mars has this ability to shake things up, to bring out the truth, to just, you know, rattle everything to the core. Now in Pisces, a lot of people believe that Mars in Pisces, you know, isn't that powerful. Oh, but what you have to understand is it's extremely powerful. And people that know how to use this energy know that they can use it through manipulation of the energy, manipulating the energy instead of letting it just go wherever it goes. People, through our intentions, we have the ability to create a ripple in the energetic field. Okay, and that's through what? Through intention, through believing, through faith, because we have to look at what sign is Mars in, what attributes is Mars wanting to bring out, and it's faith, it's hope. And so when we talk about manipulating, the first thing you might think, well, that sounds kind of, you know, isn't that like not a good thing? Okay, but Mars in its shadow side, Mars in Pisces, I should say, in its shadow side is very covertly manipulative to the point where it brings about very deep spiritual and psychological destruction. Yes, it can. Okay. But energy manipulated in the spirit through intention, through wanting the best, through wanting to be your best, wanting the best for others. By sending that intention out, you can also create a ripple. You can manipulate the energy in a positive way. Remember, the fish is, you know, it's a duality. The fish goes up, fish goes down. It can go down to the very depth of the psychological spiritual realm. So for a lot of you, you may be really feeling lost in this energy. But this energy is more about a type of spiritual warfare, okay, an emotional transformation. Now, this is kind of hard to talk about because we get into some deeper things in astrology, and a lot of people don't realize that, you know, everything has an energetic impression. And, you know, many people live on the shadow side or live in the raw nature of who they are. You can get stuck there. We've all been stuck there at different times. And those people that are trying to ascend, trying to grow, trying to look within, willing to look within, there's a very big cord cutting right now between toxic situations that aren't growing, that are draining you, okay, versus situations that are ready to go do something, go out and be a part of the universal shift, the change. How can we help the earth? How can we do good things? How can we invest in our children? How can we have healthier relationships? How can we help each other through this, you know, through the internet and through this energetic, you know, energy that we can connect to each other all around the world. So we know that there's always going to be that dark force and that evil force. And if you're naive or in denial and you think, oh, that's not there, be careful, because there's a lot of covert, like I said, manipulation happening. And there's a lot of exposure right now for many spiritual people that do have insight, that are extremely intuitive. And most of that is going to be you guys watching this video, right? You know, you've been seeing through the veil. You've been seeing the truth. You've been realizing the patterns. You've been seeing the past. Because of the retrogrades, we've been able to look back at family patterns and dysfunctional situations and relationships we've had to go no contact with, relationships we've had to separate from, and it's very painful because a lot of it is realizing that, you know, as healers, okay, yes, we get blamed for wanting to fix and wanting to heal and wanting to help. And yes, in this day and age, that gift, if you have that gift, it's priceless. It's worth something. And it's so important going into this next year that those of you out there that are healers learn how to protect yourself and finally have worth. Know that you're worth something, that you're special, that you're just not going to give it away to anybody and everybody that's going to trample on it. Okay. So yes, I'm talking about some more spiritual aspects to this, but because Mars is in Pisces and Venus is there, Neptune is there, also Chiron is there. And Chiron, the wounded healer, is sitting on my ascendant right now too. So I personally, that's why I'm coming to you guys with these messages, because I've been like in the front lines of looking through the veil. And what I'm seeing is very disturbing in some cases. And it's been happening for a long time in our lives, but we're so sensitive and our energy is so easily drained by people and situations that have different intentions than you. And I've seen this firsthand. It's like everywhere around me. And that again is because I'm being heavily saturated in this energy. Some of you are going through that as well. Now, some of you may think, oh, wow, this is like way too deep. I don't even want to go there. But again, we're all moving through this very intense energy. Okay. So listen to your intention. Allow yourself to speak the truth. Don't, you know, sometimes we convince ourselves maybe we're crazy. You know, how do you feel about it? How does it make you feel? What does it do for you? Is that relationship something that allows you to live in your truth and integrity? Now, we have all different types of relationships. In some relationships, we can go no contact within contact, meaning we're just not giving so much of ourselves to it and our worry and our emotions and obsessing over it. It's a very obsessive time. Okay. You also have to realize we've had North Node in Virgo the last year and a half, and it's going to be moving into Leo. All right. This spring. So Virgo is, you know, Virgos, we look at every little detail, every little flaw. So with this Pisces energy and the Virgo energy working so strongly together, we've been able to see, you know, through the veil emotionally and then physically see how does it affect us. Okay, because Virgos are, you know, sometimes they get a bad rap. I'm a Virgo. I love my Virgos. But, you know, it's because, you know, often we just see so much and it's like, oh, I don't want to have to go through that problem when I can see how I can avoid it by just doing this. So, of course, we can always see better for somebody else than ourselves. But bottom line is we've all been able to really look at how does this, you know, relationship, what does it do for me? Because Virgos basically want to set the table. They want to feed the homeless. You know, they want to make sure everybody has a little bite of food. Everybody gets a little something. Okay. Virgo's ruled by the stomach. So when you are setting the table and feeding the homeless, you know, you want to make sure everybody does their part. And so you look around, is everybody bringing something to the table? Virgos are calculating in that way because they know to get the job done, they need everybody to do their part. And if they become the one that's doing everything, Virgos get this crazy like resentment and then they go on strike. You don't want a Virgo on strike. You want a Virgo being helpful and feeling appreciated. So I'm just trying to give you guys this energetic or energy. I keep using that same word, but I guess it really is this imprint that's happening as we speak right now. So with everything going direct, what is happening? What does that mean for us? Let's take a look. So Mercury and Saturn right now, although Mercury will be moving into Capricorn again in a few days, this is again going to be about really Capricorn energy really looks at things in a way again. What are you doing for me? I'm climbing that mountain and I have a big picture and I know exactly what it's going to take to get that done. And, you know, I'm willing to step over the dead bodies. And so that's where Capricorns sometimes get this cold, calculated kind of feel. But let's just face it, if you want a, you know, CEO or someone to run your business that you can depend on and know every detail of it, it's the Capricorn. So this energy is asking us to ask ourselves. It's saying, hey, you know, the universe has a job for each one of us. I truly believe. And often, many people don't ever walk and live in their fullness of what that is, what that destiny is. You know, are we daring enough to walk in that destiny? And if you're willing to walk in the truth of that destiny, sometimes it's a lonely path. Sometimes it's a time when, you know, you have to create an energy going forward that draws people that are going to help that dream, that calling come to life. So people that are coming in and removing the foundation, shaking up the foundation, keeping you from that place. You know, right now, you're going to see clearly, you know, what that is. And, you know, doesn't mean you don't respect those people. Doesn't mean you don't love those people. It doesn't mean that they're bad. It just means that you have a calling and you have to be true to it. Okay, and so do they. They have to be true to their calling as well. So that's important. Jupiter in Libra is talking about relationships. This whole year has been about relationships. So now that it's going to go retrograde, a lot of these relationship issues in the next few weeks, you know, we're going to kind of go back into really going, okay, where are we now? And maybe taking another look at them. Because everything is direct right now, you may feel extremely impulsive, just like, oh, I got to get all this out that I've been holding in for the last 6 months. It's got to come out, and it might come out. Just make sure that, you know, when you are communicating, you really think through the ripple of effect. You know, is it important? You know, have I really looked at this situation? Am I looking at the big picture? Or am I just blah? And then I have to go backwards and try to fix a lot of things. So be careful, because your words are extremely powerful right now with Venus, Mars in Pisces. Your words are very powerful. This is manifesting time. That's why I talk about the spiritual warfare, because the work that we do right now is all done in the spiritual realm. Okay, I mean, I love this energy because this is the energy that I operate in. So when the universe comes in, although it's showing me some really tough stuff, it's also giving me that, like, okay, this is part of life, and this is part of my journey, and this is more for me to write about in my book. You know, I mean, it's just kind of like, what are the possibilities, and, you know, how can I heal? And realizing what I can't do, you know, that's a big relief, what my job is and what it's not. And sometimes just realizing what your job is. And often, because Pisces does represent the ultimate empath, you know, this brings out the codependent side of us. Codependent is, you know, helping somebody else be dependent on anything, on something. It doesn't even have to be a substance. It's that they're dependent on living off maybe not their authentic self. Are we helping them? Are we enabling them? Sometimes people aren't ready for the truth. And you know what? Sometimes that's not even our job, to have to tell people the truth. When you start realizing what is your place and what's not your place, and you start living by those boundaries and those rules, do you know how much energy you're going to save by not just constantly, you know, putting it out anywhere and everywhere and getting involved in drama and getting involved in situations? And for a lot of us, you know, it's easy to do that, because then it keeps us from having to really do that kind of, like I said, that lonely path, hard work, no validation, nobody loves me work. And that's the kind of work that artists do, writers do, YouTubers do. There's a place that, you know, whatever you're dreaming, there's a point in time where you just have to do it. Because if it were easy, everybody would do it. With Uranus and Aries now going direct, this is very important. Mars is going to move into Aries on January 28th. So this is extremely important right now, because once we go through this kind of 12th house spiritual stuff, you know, we're going to be ready to shed off this old skin. Okay. Also, remember, we've had this Lilith and Scorpio energy going on, and that's going to be moving into Sagittarius next. So Sagittarius is more about public scandals. Okay. Lilith and Scorpio is more about toxic, psychopathic relationships, deception, you know, psychological prisons. I mean, you can get into some heavy stuff with Lilith and Scorpio. And so we've seen that really dark stuff in our relationships more than ever, have we not? I mean, come on. We've seen it. And we've seen it in us. We've seen it in us, the things that have come up in us, insecurities and fears that we never had. Maybe somebody else brought those fears out in you. Or maybe, you know, you're generating kind of a time where you've been more paranoid, fearful. That's Lilith. And there's a good reason, because when your fears bubble to the surface, okay, Pluto can be volcanic, so it's like bubbling to the surface before it blows. When your fears come to the surface, as painful as they are, it gives you a chance to finally face them, one at a time. Finally look at them, let your heart pound, feel it, and then ask yourself why. What's the worst case scenario? Why does this fear terrorize me? Because when it's not on the surface, it's festering, you know, behind the scenes. And a lot of times we're not able to see this psychological stuff that we need to clear out, that we need to get straight so we can move forward. Hey, I'm ready to move forward. Last 7 years have been back and forth and up and down and all over the place. You know, it's funny because the only track record I have is my Facebook, when all the memories come up, you know, and I'm like, wow, this time last year, this time 3 years ago. I really love to be able to look back and see what I was doing. And in some cases, I'm doing the exact same thing as I was doing a year ago. So I'm like, have I grown? Is there any changes? And it's hard to see. It's hard to see. But I'm encouraging you guys right now that we are getting ready to grow, and we are getting ready to move forward. Okay. So with everything in going direct right now, this 3-week window, I'm telling you guys right now, stop whatever you're doing, distracted, drama, this, that, and get focused and launch something in your heart. Launch a piece of it. Just get it out there. Plant the seed right now and go, because this is a really important 3 weeks where dreams and beyond your wild imagination can get going. We're moving through this portal of miracles and inspiration. Now, will everything happen in 3 weeks? No, you're planting a seed. I'm going to be launching some stuff over the next couple of weeks. I actually waited. I wanted to do some things on the 1st. But you know what? Not during a retrograde. I'm waiting to get out of shadow a little bit. In the next week or so, I'm like pushing really hard during this time to get some stuff out here for you guys. So, and it's, you know, it's a part of me launching a whole new part of my life. So I'm encouraging you guys to do the same thing. Sorry if I'm all over the place. The energy is all over the place right now. So I'm just trying to read it as I'm talking, as it's speaking to me. But I said Mars is going to move into Aries January 28th to March 10th. It will be conjunct Uranus in Aries. So as we come through this emotional time, get ready, because Aries is about, like I said, shedding off baggage. They want to go. Aries can be a little selfish. You know, it's kind of like, I don't really care what anybody else thinks. You know, I'm going to do it. And if I have to say I'm sorry, I'll say it later, but I'm doing what I want to do. In fact, if you tell me not to do that, I'm for sure doing that. Okay. And I'm going to get in the front lines and I'm going to get first. And here I come. And, you know, I'm going to say it like it is. So guess what? This is coming. We're going to get really, you know, revved up here to say it like it is in our own lives. This doesn't have to be a destructive thing at all. In fact, this can be absolutely wonderful to finally be able to say, look, this is who I am. This is what I'm doing. This is what I believe. Okay. And I'm, you know, I've got the energy behind me to do it. So we need to respect one another. We need to be excited for one another. When you see other people really stepping into their power, get behind them. Get behind them in any way you can right now. Because, you know, that also tests our own heart. When you get behind positive energy and you support positive energy, it keeps it going. When you get behind the fear and the negativity and all that, it keeps it going. And for those of us out here that are, you know, artists and trying to come out, you know, I'm looking around at who, you know, who's giving to me, how I can support them, because it brings back energy to me and it gives back energy. We have to keep that going. So, you know, all that being said, when the North Node moves into Leo, and I'll end on this, this spring, everything you've been working on, everything you've been putting together, all those little pieces like the Virgo does the last year and a half, you're going to be able to brand it. You're going to be able to put it in a package, and you're going to be able to put the red ribbon on it and say, here, I got it all together. This will be a new year and a half cycle. So, you know, get on board. Now's the time. If you've been weary, if you've been exhausted from everything that's happened the last few years, that's okay. But get ready. Time to shake it off. Put your boots on. You know, get your cowgirl walk on, get your cowboy walk on, and start, you know, as you move through, that Red Sea is going to open. It's just going to open. Okay. So you guys, I hope that was helpful. If you have any questions or comments below, you can leave a comment. Please leave a comment. Love your comments. That's what keeps us going out here, is that positive energy coming back to us. If you want to book a reading, check out my website. I have some specials still. I haven't changed my website yet. So catch on my specials and keep updated, because I have some new stuff coming your way. All right, you guys. Have a great day.